We're going to jump into the latest Broncos head coaching news and buzz in just a moment. But we got another Chat Sports challenge for all of you guys watching right now. We want to see which team's channel can get the most comments on a video. And the record this year, it's still early, 2023, is 41 comments by one individual. So go down to the comment section, comment whatever you'd like. Go Broncos, comment the roster, comment 1 through 100, whatever your heart desires, and we want to see which channel can get the most comments and who can break the 41 comment record this year so far. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, like I said, with the latest Broncos head coaching buzz. As long as there is still a vacancy at that position, we are going to be breaking down everything we are hearing. And the Broncos have completed their first round of interviews, and they are now on to round 2. Let's look at the Broncos interview list, which started with 8 names. Harbaugh out of the running now, so we're down to 7. And the second round of interviews is probably going to be 3 names. Last year, they had 3 names. They actually only conducted one of those 3, Hackett, and then they got, quick trigger and pulled it really quickly before even interviewing Quinn or O'Connell for a second time, which was probably not a very good idea. So let's break down some of the little, inklings we're hearing right now. So we'll start with this tweet from Mike Klis, who put out that the Broncos head coach search remains wide open. CEO Greg Penner went into search with an open mind. Process has revealed several strong candidates. While Sean Payton is most prominent name, source indicates Penner not yet zeroed in on any one candidate, trusting the process. So we take that, which to me it sounds like they are going to do more than just one second-round interview, which last year, like we said, they just interviewed Hackett for a second time. Then we have this from Josina Anderson, who tweeted out, while the Broncos have been impressed by several candidates, no second interviews have been scheduled just yet, according to a source. I'm told they have not zeroed in on anyone at this time, and their evaluation is still wide open as they discern next steps. Pump the brakes, not there yet. So now we got some conflicting news and rumors here because Josina is saying there have been no second interviews scheduled yet. Well, that's interesting because Jeff Duncan from NOLA.com, who's got some good sources from Sean Payton's side in the Big Easy, he tweeted out, while the news that Sean Payton has scheduled a second interview with the Broncos this week, or with the news, are the Denver Broncos the favorites to hire Sean Payton? So that's kind of the opposite. It's a contradiction of what Josina said. There have been no second interviews scheduled yet. Sort of what Mike Klis was saying. Jeff Duncan is saying, with the news, that Sean Payton, and there were some reports of it maybe even being as soon as Wednesday. To me, this kind of sounds like the Broncos don't want any leaks on their side. They want to keep it airtight, and this news came from Sean Payton's side, who told someone who got to Jeff Duncan at NOLA.com. I'm guessing there is a second interview for Sean Payton. Whether or not it has been confirmed yet, who are we kidding here? They're absolutely going to do a second one, whether or not Josina or Mike Klis can verify it at this moment in time. Then we have this to kind of round out all the latest buzz here from Zach Stevens. Sean Payton is planning to fly to Denver later this week as the Broncos set their sights on a second round of interviews, which is different than the first round, which took place at a hotel in Los Angeles. This one might be sort of a walk around the campus, get to know the facilities, get to know the team a little bit better than just being a visiting head coach. So we're starting to get definitely more traction of Sean Payton. I'm not presenting anyone with groundbreaking information, is probably the favorite. I think it's all in Sean Payton's court right now. Does he want to be the 20th head coach in Denver Broncos history? If I had to make predictions on how the second round of interviews will go, I think Sean Payton is a lock. I think Dan Quinn is a 99% chance of being a lock. The third name, which I think they'll do 3, is up in the air. I've heard David Shaw get some buzz. This one's more of me trying to speak it into existence. I like Raheem Morris. I think I'm at man crush level. I think Raheem Morris might be a pretty good NFL coach. Is he number 1 ahead of those guys? No. But I think in terms of the potential disaster plan, if Sean Payton decides to stay at Fox, Dan Quinn goes, you know what? You guys passed on me last time. I'm passing on you this time. If you get to that point, I think Raheem Morris might be a better candidate than some of the other ones out there. Now, we're going to get to more head coaching buzz in just a second, but today's show is brought to you by Magic Spoon, the revolutionary cereal that's changing the game. Say goodbye to sugary processed cereals and hello to delicious, nutritious options that will power you through your day. Magic Spoon is the perfect choice for anyone looking to start the new year off on the right foot. With a variety of flavors to choose from like cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter, you'll never get bored. And with only 140 calories per serving, it's a guilt-free breakfast option. But the best part, Magic Spoon is packed with 13 to 14 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar, making it the perfect choice for those following a keto or gluten-free diet. And with a 100% happiness guarantee, you have nothing to lose by giving it a try. Order your own personalized Magic Spoon variety pack today and save $5 by using code CHAT at magicspoon.com/chat or scanning the QR code on screen. Trust us, you won't regret it. Start your day off right with Magic Spoon. I've got the link in for that in the comments and the description of today's show. Start your day off on the right foot with a healthy choice by going to magicspoon.com/chat and using promo code CHAT. Getting back on track now, let's look at some other interesting information about the Broncos head coaching search, because if it is indeed going to be Sean Payton, well, we know that it's going to require a first-round pick to go to New Orleans most likely. And that first-round pick is fallen. And I love to see it, right? If you're not going to have it anyway, you might as well use it to make a package for Sean Payton. Right now, the draft order is set from 1 through 27. 28 through 31 is up in the air between the Chiefs, Bengals, Eagles, and 49ers. I know that there is some hesitation from any sports fan of parting ways with a first-round pick. But if it's going to be one of the last 4 picks in the first round, that definitely makes it a lot easier. Now, it's also probably not going to get it done. I think if the Broncos had the 23rd overall pick in the draft, it might just take a first to get Sean Payton, which is why my trade prediction is going to stand with this: a first and a future third. Last 4 picks in the first round, they're valuable. It's still a first-round pick, which means you can put a 5th-year option on a guy and get him for an extra year of cheap control. But I'm guessing the Saints, we're talking about the 29th, the 30th, maybe even the 31st overall pick in the draft. Yeah, we'll need more than that as to a 23rd overall pick had the 49ers lost a bit earlier. To kind of put a bow on the second round of interviews, though, I do want to stress that it feels like this search is going wildly different than last year. Last year, we had leaks. We had some rumors. We had some droplets to go to, right? We had some crumbs to nibble on. We've got nothing this year. Greg Penner and the Broncos ownership group are keeping it airtight, and they're not rushing it, right? Last year, like I said, they had 3 second-round interviews scheduled: Dan Quinn, Nathaniel Hackett, Kevin O'Connell. They only completed one of those. They never got to Dan Quinn or KOC, right? They decided the Hackett interview, you're our guy, and proceeded, and that probably/definitely was a mistake on their end. Now, speaking of Dan Quinn, let's talk a little bit more about the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, because after another Cowboys playoff collapse, we get to get that second interview done probably a little bit early. In fact, all 3 of those guys I mentioned as a potential second interview candidate, they are all willing and able to interview at any given moment right now. So let's dive into Dan Quinn and why I think he is a good backup option, especially with the Broncos having to only give up a first-round pick for the last 4 right now. I know a lot of you were out there going, I don't want to give up a first-rounder. Well, now that you know where it's likely going to be, between 28 and 31, probably makes your mind a lot at ease with this here. But before we do, this is just a fact. If you subscribe, whoever you want to be the next head coach will get hired. That's what Greg Penner and I talked about on the phone this morning while eating some Magic Spoon, right? We said, hey, whatever the subscribers say, that's what you go with. And he's like, dude, I'm just a puppet. You give me a name, we'll get it done. So that's the power we have here at the Broncos Breakdown. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. To dive more into Dan Quinn here, the Cowboys have played 3 playoff games under his control. Last year against the 49ers, first-round exit. This year against the Bucs and the 49ers. And in 3 games, it's a small sample size, but still, the defense has been awesome, right? If I told you, hey, the Cowboys defense in those 3 games will give up an average of 18 points per game, you're probably thinking they go 3-0, not 1-2, right? 3 takeaways, 3 sacks. I mean, it goes to show, though, that Dan Quinn's defense has played its best against the NFL's best in the playoffs. Giving up less than 3 touchdowns, I know those aren't like, 85 Bears numbers, but it's still pretty darn good if you ask me. I also think it's important to remind you guys that Dan Quinn's biggest demon he exercised, Tom Brady, who he had never beat and who haunted him 28-3, his defense put on a clinic this year. So for all the people out there saying Dan Quinn can't run an offense, I don't think that's necessarily true, but I can tell you this much. He got over that Tom Brady hurdle, and maybe that's the last mental block he had to get back to being a really good NFL head coach. The only reason the Cowboys aren't playing right now is because Dak Prescott dropped the bag and fumbled altogether in the playoffs, and even his own team tweeted out Dak Prescott threw 2 horrible interceptions. Not verbatim, but pretty much. That tweet's still up. You should go look at it. Now, next up on the show, I want to talk about some interesting news here, as Jerry Rosburg may be entering the head coach sweepstakes. To me, it seems like he is just trying to be in consideration, and the Broncos are doing him a favor by letting it go to the media and Jeremy Fowler that, sure, we'll consider you, but no, we're not really going to do that. Jeremy Fowler tweeted this out over the weekend. Jerry Rosburg, Denver's interim head coach for final 2 games, had an end-of-season meeting with ownership in which he expressed interest in the Broncos' head coaching position. Denver appreciated the plan he outlined for the job and will consider it. That is head coaching friend zone, right? Thank you so much for this awesome portfolio you made. Oh, you color-coded it. You went through so much trouble. Oh, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have made a table of contents. No 3-ring binders needed, Jerry. We're going to go Sean Payton. We're going to go with the bigger fish here in the pond. But I do think Jerry Rosburg was the best head coach the Broncos have had since Kubiak. Yeah, that just popped in my head. That's kind of sad. He only did 2 games. He's probably the best in the last 4 years or so here. 5 maybe even. Now, I am curious about this question for you. Let's say there's no Sean Payton or Dan Quinn. Would you hire Jerry Rosburg? He has not gotten an interview with the Broncos yet. So, to me, it seems like it's way too little too late to ask to be in consideration when they've already completed their first round of interviews. But if there's no Payton or Quinn, he might be kind of a safe play if they strike out and they kind of go the Lovie Smith route of let's just find someone as a placeholder until we can get our, really top guy next year or maybe even the season after that, and he can kind of, keep the ship afloat here. I think my dream staff is looking like this. Head coach is Sean Payton. Your DCs, you're holding on to Evero. Your offensive coordinator is Frank Reich. And your special teams coordinator is Jerry Rosburg, right? That right there is my dream staff, which I don't think is all that unlikely. Maybe Rosburg decides to go back to retirement if he's not going to be a head coach. I wouldn't blame him for that, but who knows? Maybe he kind of got the coaching bug back in him. So that is my dream staff right there. Let me know what yours looks like in the comment section. That will do it for us on today's show. We're going to sign off and see you guys later with more Broncos head coaching news and rumors.